Superman actor Henry Cavill and former Superbike champion Neil Hodgson are attempting one of the most extreme drives on the planet.
This is proper hardcore. Vast, untouched, wild.
They're in northwest China to tackle the hottest road on Earth. Snaking across the Taklamakan Desert, this deadly track is infamous for engine-busting, scorching temperatures.
We cannot repair this. It's terminal.
100-mile-an-hour sandstorms.
Stay together, guys. Stay together. Don't rush.
The world's biggest sand dunes. And an evil desert basin. So hot, nothing survives for long.
We're now up to 54 degrees C.
This hellish 800-kilometer assault course guarantees to take man and machine to breaking point.
I do action films. That's pretend. This is the real deal.
Henry Cavill, star of the Superman movie Man of Steel, and Neil Hodgson, legendary bike racer, have just landed in China. It's their first day, and at 9 a.m. the temperature is already pushing 40 degrees. They're heading to the car they must drive across the Taklamakan Desert, otherwise known as the Desert of Death.
There it is. Hey, look how jacked up it is. It's got adventure written all over it.
That's our tracker, so everyone knows where we are.
Right.
GPS, thermometer, massive thermometer, and our sat phone.
Ooh, look at the beast. It's a 4.26 cylinder. This sort of engine is absolutely ideal for the terrain we're going on. This is the start. This is the start of the journey.
Yeah.
Henry may be Superman's Man of Steel, but he and Neil are about to begin a journey that will be sure to test their mettle.
Put your head, put it that way.
They plan to drive 800 kilometers on the world's hottest road, from Hami to Urumqi, officially the furthest city on Earth from the sea. This expedition isn't for the faint-hearted. It will encompass a bewildering variety of desert terrain, from soft, quagmire-like sands, bone-jarring, dried-out riverbeds, slippery shale, and precipitous giant dunes. Over the centuries, countless lives have been lost in the killer 50-degree heat. The first Westerners came here in the late 1800s and perished. Even today, few travellers brave this journey.
Being a motorcycle racer, I'm used to dangers, but this is way out of my comfort zone.
The car rolls, people's lives are in danger. This expedition is genuinely for Men of Steel.
Supporting Neil and Henry's Driven to Extremes mission is a crack team of experts, led by Mac McKenney, a former mastermind behind Sir Ranulph Fiennes' expeditions.
I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This is going to be a very difficult expedition. It's not called the Desert of Death for nothing.
Mac's backed up by ex-Royal Marine Commando Aldo Kane, who takes care of security.
When things go wrong in the desert, they go wrong quickly and they go wrong drastically.
And there's former rally raid driver and adventure mechanic Paul Marsh.
Everything takes punishment on this vehicle. We fitted really good quality shock absorbers. We've used all-terrain tyres.
But you've got to have the right oil. If you don't use the right oil, it will just destroy the engine.
And the lives of the entire team depend on these vehicles.
Meanwhile, in downtown Hami, the presence of Superman and one of the world's most recognisable bike racers is causing quite a stir.
We've got a little bit of an audience here.
Oh, yeah?
I hope I don't stall it when I set off. I'll tell you, I'm sweating already.
It should take Henry and Neil 4 days and nights to travel across the desert. Any longer is certain to take a heavy toll on both man and machine. They must rely on each other to navigate a safe route. But as they start out, they're total strangers.
Where did you shoot Superman?
We shot that in Illinois and Vancouver and Edwards Air Force Base in California.
Where's that in California?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
In the desert.
Right, right.
And it got hot throughout the day, sure, but it wasn't like this.
No.
I lived in Southern California for 4 years. I raced in America as well. I did like the American Superbike Championships.
Right.
It's such a cool place.
Neil's been entrusted with blazing the initial trail. While the Superbike champ has achieved virtually everything racing for the iconic Ducati team, he's never tried driving across soft desert sands before.
We're going to get stuck, and
Yeah, definitely.
I think more so when you're driving though. You're just going to start facing the bikes.
I'm not,
you know, you're a better
I'm
actor
not-
than me,
I'm
but
not-
I think
I'm not gonna argue
I'm going to outdrive you. You know, I'm just telling you that now. You know, yeah, whatever.
You're better at crashing.
Half an hour later, they're on the outskirts of Hami. Here the city abruptly gives way to harsh desert, stretching endlessly into the distance.
I thought of 3 really good words. Go on. Vast, untouched, wild.
I'm feeling intrigued.
Yeah,
I'm still excited
I want to see how this develops.
Yeah. The camp tonight, I want to see how that works out. I'm intrigued to see what, when we get in the real desert, if this is really the real desert.
Like dune stuff.
Yeah, we'll take the handbrake off as well. They don't seem to like it when they've been on for 3 or 4 miles.
Man, this is going to be great. Mate, we are in the desert.
Oh, it just makes me want to be on a motocross bike. It's hardcore. This is proper hardcore. It's better than I expected, mate. Can't see a person. Yeah.
Not only is air conditioning banned as it uses too much precious fuel, they've had to shut all windows to stop choking dust engulfing them.
So much for us, what we'll do, we'll have our window down and all that lot.
Yeah.
There's no chance we can have our window down.
It's so easy to get stuck here.
It's so easy to get stuck.
As soon as
Yeah.
you drop the revs too low.
It's stressful.
It is.
Going to the left slightly.
Go on, baby. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on.
Neil and Henry's fears have come true. One of the world's greatest drivers has already been caught out by the desert.
It feels like you go along and then you just get sucked in, and it feels like someone just grabbed the handbrake, because it almost pulls you down like that, and that's the sand grabbing hold of the wheels. And I'm shocked, actually. I feel quite embarrassed how useless I am.
With the time approaching midday, the thermometer is well past 40 degrees. It's vital they dig the car out quickly and get moving again.
So, where do I need to go? We're going to try going forward.
All right.
Even short exposure to this extreme temperature, doing hard labour can lead to heat exhaustion, or worse still, heat stroke. This is a life-threatening condition where the body's core temperature overheats, causing cells to break down and vital organs to fail. After 30 minutes, former Royal Marine Commando Aldo is worried the boys are overdoing it.
So after all that exertion there, this is it's midday. Even just that half an hour's worth of digging out there, you've probably expelled quite a lot of water, so you really need to, when you get back in the vehicles, start drinking.
Chugging it down.
Yeah.
Just as they get some grip again, the inevitable happens.
This is car 4. I believe we are stuck again. Over.
With rehydration becoming a serious issue, expedition leader Mac has some more bad news.
Just so you know, car 8, top hose is gone. Okay, and it's dumped all its water out of the engine. It's going to be all hands on deck. We've got to go and fix it. Right, boys, let's get this one moving.
A mile away, mechanic Paul Marsh is at the stricken support vehicle.
We've just come through an absolutely horrendous patch of sand. Here, we've actually got a radiator fan, electric fan, and the fan is disintegrated. Punched a hole through the radiator, which you can see over there. That started leaking fluid out, and of course it got to a point where the vehicle engine just heated up until the actual radiator burst. We cannot repair this. It's terminal. Best solution is leave this vehicle right here.
Well, this vehicle won't be going any further. Just 3 hours into their journey, and the desert is proving a formidable opponent. Water is being strictly rationed at 5 litres per person per day to keep loads light. If they fall too far behind schedule, they'll be in real danger of running out. And in this environment, that could be fatal. Over the next few hours, progress continues to be stop-start. Time and again, vehicles flounder in the soft, enveloping sands.
Getting stuck 4 or 5 times in a row, it's draining stuff, that's for sure.
Eventually, the convoy clears the deep sands.
Here we go. Beauty. Oh, yeah.
Hallelujah.
Back on hard terrain, Henry must drive as fast as he dares to try and make camp before nightfall.
This car is a beast. You don't really get to feel quite what it's like sitting in the passenger seat. No.
Finally, they reach camp just as the sun is setting.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, that's a good feeling now.
Yeah.
That's like proper relief.
Well done, mate.
We've done well.
Perfect. There we go.
Check that out.
I know, that is a...
Scenery.
Yeah, I know, it's proper view, isn't it?
The desert landscape may be breathtaking, but comfortable it most certainly isn't.
So how does this work then? This is some inflatable, obviously.
Neil and Henry will have to sleep out in the open and hope the local wildlife doesn't pay a visit.
I feel all dizzy. So what do you think? Get a bit of a campfire going then?
Yeah.
There you go. Look at that. She's on the way now.
Eh? How did we get here?
You drove here, mate.
Still to come,
That is unbelievable.
Henry and Neil face their worst fear.
He needs help. Is he conscious?
And the further they drive, the hotter it gets.
It is a matter of life and death.
Superman actor Henry Cavill and superbike champ Neil Hodgson are attempting to cross China's desert of death. So far, they've had to battle quagmire-like sands, a blown radiator from the extreme heat, while a dwindling water supply is a growing concern. It's the morning of day 2 of their 4-day mission.
Morning, everyone. Pretty stunning night last night. Woke up in the middle of the night, and it was, all you could see was just a blanket of stars above you. It did get a little chilly at one stage, though, and we get to wake up to this. Got to be some of the luckiest people on the planet right now.
Ahead, Henry and Neil face another challenging 220-kilometre desert leg, culminating with an awe-inspiring spectacle of the largest sand dunes on Earth.
And we're on.
Day 2. It's 30 degrees. What time is it? I'm not even watching.
It's 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock in the morning. It's 30 degrees. We've got 7 hours driving, I think, today. It's going to be a long day.
After all their problems with clogging sand on day 1, the driving is much easier. But in the desert, danger can strike at any time.
So we've got a problem here. I don't know what's going on.
Problem here. What's up, mate? Come on, guys.
What's happened?
He needs help.
Henry and Neil are initially unaware that this is a staged exercise.
Is he conscious?
No, he's unconscious. Right, hang on, we've got someone unconscious. He's conscious. He's all right. We've got.
Get a radio. Help! Hurry up!
They're being put to the test to see how they shape up to a desert emergency.
It's all right, mate. Is he alive?
Right, yeah, he's got a pulse. He's breathing. He's breathing.
Analysing them in this stressful and realistic scenario is Chief Medic Paul Callicott.
It's cold to go.
Well, there's got to be...
Okay, guys, stop there. All right, Paul, could you switch that horn off, please? How did you feel when you rolled around the corner and saw that? What?
Well, I've got to say, horrendous.
What really worried me was that I don't know how to use that kit.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do, effectively.
Now, Hodgie, you went straight for Mac, and just by doing something as simple as rolling onto his side, you've saved his life. If you leave somebody like that on their back...
They'll die.
They'll die.
Yeah.
Henry, we know just straight away, without any medical training, this guy's screaming, therefore he's breathing. All right? Always be suspicious as the really quiet casualties. Right. All I can say is the lessons that we learn are, number one, how remote we are. Number two is let's get familiar with this kit.
Well, first of all, I actually feel slightly in shock. It's a lot harder than you think it's going to be doing something like that.
You need to know what to do because it is a panic situation. If it happens for real, the adrenaline goes up and you can't focus, you can't think straight. And so just to have this basic prep is enough to potentially save lives.
It's been a wake-up call for the boys. The next time, it could be for real.
Good way of getting walking up. No, I like that kind of stuff. It's the way to learn.
Definitely the way to learn.
They also have a new respect for their emergency kit they must carry at all times.
We've got these grab bags, which got a collection of things that would give you a lot longer to survive. The main thing being a drink in there. You've got your camel bag, which we try and keep topped up at all times. We've got flares in there, so if you got lost at night, you've got a flare. These grab bags are essential, really essential. It is a matter of life and death.
After a couple of hours of relatively straightforward driving, they're met by a major obstacle. It's a rutted, dried-out riverbed that demands precise manoeuvring. This looks like a job for.
What's that? Hey, I know it's Superman.
Never done this before.
Driving down a riverbed. I've got to say, this is the sort of thing I do very, very often.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I know. It's cool though. Of the journey, this is probably the coolest part. For just something totally different.
I was saying earlier, it does look like the Wild West around here. It's really cool.
Over the last 2,000 years, this hostile region has claimed countless lives. It's no surprise this place is known as the Fury of God.
It's like we're driving across the moon, I tell you. That is unbelievable.
You got it.
Look at this valley. What a journey. It just keeps getting better.
But there's not much time to enjoy the scenery. There's still 100 kilometres to go before they reach the edge of the desert of death, which means no time for long lunches.
Yeah, what these are military rations, and when we're on the road like this, sometimes you have to be quick, you have to stop, get some energy back in the body.
It's quick, easy, and probably full of all the good stuff.
Meanwhile, mechanic Paul Marsh strikes on a novel way for a more sophisticated bite.
Now, what I want to see is if I can cook this egg.
Merely using the ambient temperature in the car's cab, he rustles up an omelette inside 5 minutes.
You're not going to believe it, but that egg is cooked. I'd eat that. Bit of salt and pepper. And I've cooked an egg off the heat in this cabin here. Oh, that looks delicious. It's good.
After their brief pit stop under the blistering midday sun, it's back on the dusty trail again.
It's 45 degrees inside the cabin here.
I've got my drinking water now. I'm almost convinced if I put a tea bag in it,
Yeah,
I'd have a nice warm
I was
tea.
just thinking it's like drinking bath water.
Yeah.
It's that warm.
It's that warm.
It sort of dries your eyeballs out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's hot air.
Four hours of grueling driving later, the boys finally see their Day 2 end destination.
We made it.
The soaring sand dunes on the edge of the Taklamakan Desert.
These are the biggest sand dunes in the world. Second to none. Forget about Sahara Desert, whatever you think about deserts and sand dunes, we've got nothing on this.
As they cover the last few kilometres, the temptation is to put the foot down.
I read you, over.
Advise there are hidden gullies with very severe drops. If you're hit at speed, you can potentially roll the car.
Rolling the car will be incredibly dangerous. Without wheels, they'll be stranded. No one will come to save them, as they're now out of helicopter rescue range.
Another drop here, mate. Serious one, too.
Finally, they reach their second desert camp.
Sand, sand, and more sand. There's a lot of sand.
And the prospect of another sleepless night on the hard desert floor. But this time, it looks like a slightly softer landing.
It's very hard and crispy on top, and underneath, this is the surprising bit, soft sand. Look, soft sand.
Look, compare the two.
Compare the two.
That's what it's like.
That's a grippy bit on the top. Look at that,
then
it's just beautiful.
Two different things entirely.
Just lovely though. I can't wait to get to bed tonight and just curl up in it all. I'm going to start exfoliating now, in fact. It's just amazing. Try it, seriously. I feel younger. Look at my skin.
Yeah.
As the sun disappears, the team plan a route for the most dangerous section of their journey, crossing the giant dunes of the Desert of Death.
Really dangerous driving up these dunes.
Yeah. When you turn around and look back, you realise quite how much space is out here and the scale of what these are.
Still to come, the water situation becomes critical.
We will eventually run out of water.
And the Desert of Death bites back.
Guys, do not underestimate this.
It's so dangerous out here. I mean, it's lethal.
Henry Cavill and Neil Hodgson are halfway through their 800-kilometre trek across one of the hottest roads on Earth. It's dawn on day 3.
Morning, everybody. Morning number 3. Got a pretty spectacular sunrise here at the base of the dunes. Here's our Neil, and behind Neil are these monsters.
Today is make or break for that 800-kilometre expedition. They must drive 78 kilometres across the biggest, hottest sand dune desert in the world, to the tiny village oasis of Daiquana. Neither Henry or Neil have attempted radical 500-metre-plus dune driving. In this terrain, put a wheel wrong and you can roll the vehicle.
This is what we've come here to do. I will admit, I'm a little nervous, of course.
It's a daunting prospect, but the boys must tackle the mountainous dunes. They're now at the point of no return, as supplies won't last if they turn back. An expedition leader, Mac, has just discovered their situation is more critical than realised.
Just to let you guys know, we've had a count up of the water. We're down to our last 20 litres per car, okay? But obviously we've just got to conserve it.
With the journey being a lot tougher and hotter than imagined, everyone has drunk more than their allocated 5 litres of water each day. And there's a heatwave warning, suggesting the desert could be more punishing than usual.
I cannot believe the punishment this engine's going to get.
Yeah.
Just on this sort of 2 or 3 hour leg of the journey. I mean, it's brutal.
This heat, see how this will be torture on the engine. We're at 2,500 revs most of the time, if not 3,500. It's something we've been warned about, just to keep an eye on the engine temp.
The engine's going to take a lot of punishment, but so are the drivers. As they head once more into the desert furnace, they'll need to be vigilant for early signs of dehydration. These include dizziness, headaches, and loss of concentration. Not ideal when you have to pick your way through dunes with deadly drop-offs, One mistake and it could be their last. After an hour, they take a much-needed break.
How'd it feel? Tell you what, that was a little bit scarier than I thought. Yeah. Doing the over them dunes, definitely out of my comfort zone. I think people think because I race motorcycles that you're extra brave or something, which is not the case at all. It's I'm in my comfort zone when I'm on a motorcycle. Yeah. In fact, I'm quite a wimp.
Yeah, clearly a yellow belly.
Yeah, of course, without saying.
Coward.
I won't go that far.
As they hit the dune trail again, the temperature in the cab soars past 40 degrees. With the engine having to work extra hard, mechanic Paul has to make a difficult call.
Car 3 to car 4. Can you put your heater on now? I need to dissipate heat away from the engine.
Roger. Well, for the first time, officially, we now have the heating on in the car.
Switching on the car heater sucks heat away from the engine. But while the machine is being protected, man must suffer.
Temperature check, we're now up to 54 degrees C in the cockpit. And the poor driver is actually in direct sunlight as well, so... Listen,
keep an eye on something.
Yeah, seriously, if you're feeling tired or anything, just tell me because this is brutal.
Worse still, they find soft sand again.
Henry, car 4, back over.
And for good measure, one of the support cars suffers a puncture.
Okay,
It's
guys?
Mac's worst case scenario.
We are seriously in trouble if this keeps happening. We will eventually run out of water, and it won't take too long. With all this stopping and exertion every time you move, it's almost like being at altitude. You know, you're finding it difficult to breathe, not because there's no oxygen, it's just because it's so hot and you can't exert yourself. It's really difficult to be out here.
With the water situation now critical, former Royal Marine Aldo Kane is dispatched to a nearby gorge. It has a stream, but the water's too salty to drink.
When you taste it, the water's off, you can't drink it. So you could get here and there's water all around you and you would die within, a day if you drank that stuff. So what we do is take solar still. It works by evaporation and condensation. You put the bad water in and it evaporates up and then it runs down into a gutter. Jiggle like that. Can you see it? It's almost like it's raining inside, running down. So you could survive with one of these. Perfect. There's no salt whatsoever in that.
The solar still may give them a litre or two of drinkable water. Back at the convoy, Henry and Neil finally managed to free their vehicle. But their midday hard toil has meant they're down to their last drops of water.
50 mil. I don't know how much we've got left now for the rest of the day. We haven't got much.
No, my camelback's empty as well.
Eventually, they catch up with Aldo at the gorge. He's come through big time by producing 5 litres of drinking water from the brackish stream. With speed now of the essence, Neil has taken over the driving duties. Late in the afternoon, they glimpse the village of Dykena in the distance.
Might be a ridge just here, dead ahead of us, careful.
But as they reach the valley floor, they hit the softest sand yet. Neil's driving skills are tested to the max. He must speed up to 50 miles an hour to prevent another beaching.
Thick.
Okay, big ridges ahead on the left there, be very careful. It's dead ahead, in fact, there's ridges. Well done, good angle. Yeah, go between these two tracks. And there's a bit of a drop off just here on half of the right hand side of the car. Well done, mate.
Well, we've made it. We have made it. And I'll tell you what, we almost didn't. That was the last kilometre to here was the deepest sand. I was flat out in full low 4x4, pinned about 4,000 RPM, and the car, I just felt the car.
It just being grabbed by the sand,
just being
pulling
grabbed,
it down.
Like, just stopped floating, so it made it to the Oasis.
Oh, that was something else. And the dust, the level of dust
that
there.
is-
You couldn't, the visibility was zero if you were behind anyone or if the wind changed direction and it blew the dust across from the car.
And literally we couldn't see, so that was pretty sketchy, actually.
You've got to, yeah. Well done, mate. Again.
Yeah.
Waiting to greet Henry and Neil is local legend Bikeley.
Nice to meet you.
That's right.
Nice to meet you. Oh, thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Woo!
He's known as the living map for his incredible ability to navigate the desert unaided.
Thank you, Shishi.
That's fantastic, actually. It's the first cold drink we've had in days.
这个3天了，天气热，这个是第一次喝饮料，喝。
Thank you very much. Thank you. We've heard that you're called the living map. Why is that?
爷爷也当上到了，我爸爸也当上到了，我也当上到，我儿子也当上到。山上长大了，哪个方向走好，哪个方向不好，那样全部知道。那个你这随便这样走的话，我跟你讲，这样随便进去，路那个地方有，我跟你看这个地方回来的话，我山也不看，这个方向看哈。
Has he ever got stuck in the desert?
没有。
Never.
出不来。
He's my hero. My hero.
Tomorrow, Henry and Neil could do with a living map. Their route takes them down into the Turpan Basin, the hottest place in China. And at 150 meters below sea level, the second lowest place on Earth. It's not somewhere to lose your way. First, though, they must find a suitable spot to camp before it gets dark. It's 3 a.m. Mayhem has broken out in the camp.
Nightmare. Just like from nowhere, and I mean literally nowhere, within a minute, just like a massive sandstorm's come, and it's just absolutely horrendous.
Back.
Immediately, Aldo and Mac's military training kicks in.
Okay, boys, gather around. I need everyone to listen to this very clearly, and they all understand exactly what's going to happen. As you can see, the wind has picked up very dramatically. It could get to such a degree we won't be able to see a hand in front of our face, so we've got to move out of here immediately and make our way back to the village.
It's so dangerous out here. I mean, it's lethal. If anyone gets separated from the group, I mean, you would not have a clue, because you just can't see anything. I mean, I've never experienced anything like it.
Sure, it's actually a dangerous situation, but we've got professionals looking after us as well. So as long as we keep together, then we'll all be okay.
Before we go anywhere, everyone pick up your day sack and put it on. Do not leave it down. Just get everything you need to survive out here. Make sure you've got it on your back.
I've got my goggles, obviously I've got my headlights on, but I've got to get the chimney on quickly.
Behind the last wagon.
It's really hard to breathe. It's just the finest sand, and I don't know if you can see how fast it's blowing, but it's scary, really scary.
Let's get everyone in, number off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Okay, Mr. She's 15, Jane is 16.
17, that's man. Okay, we're on to village.
This is incredibly dangerous. If anyone gets separated, their chances of survival are remote.
Behind me, there's going to be there's 12 people left, so there's going to be 6 sets of pairs walking next to each other, almost holding hands, shoulder to shoulder.
Radios on both cars.
This is not a stunt for television. This is the real deal.
Yeah,
but in a bit of shock.
Next people behind, Jasper and Tim. Guys, do not underestimate this.
Back, yeah?
Yeah.
Full seat?
Yeah, run this on your mind. Stay together, guys, stay together.
The first part of their evacuation is complete, with everyone making it to the vehicles. But the most dangerous part, driving out of the storm, is yet to come. In the middle of one of the hottest deserts on Earth, Henry Cavill, Neil Hodgson and their support team are fighting a violent sandstorm. Get it wrong in these conditions and the consequences can be fatal.
So we pulled to a halt and vehicles are taking us in 3s and 4s. So we should be all in vehicles en route to the village very shortly. Okay, first 2. Hurry up, one more! Henry, go. Henry, go. One more. Okay, straight in. Get another one in. Jake! Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Drivers outside.
Right, everyone inside the vehicles. Everyone inside the vehicles. Everyone can move out.
I think we've used pretty much everything we were supposed to have in our grab bags. Couldn't write this.
Half an hour later, everyone makes it safely to their local guide Bikely's house in the nearby village of Dykena.
We are now back at the village. We're moving inside.
Can everyone just stand in a line there, just shoulder to shoulder, just so that we can see everyone's in?
Okay, we're all present.
Okay.
Well done, gentlemen.
Just a quick one, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if anyone else was aware, I was lying awake, but there was a duck devil spun through the top end of where we were camping there. That's why that wind suddenly picked up. If we were spread as far apart as we were the other night and that kicked off, you will not find each other. And you can't underestimate what we just got out of there.
You can see why we bang on about the training and the grab bags. It's not for play, it's not for show, it's for real life stuff.
Okay, a round of applause for the drivers.
It's now approaching dawn, and in a few hours' time, Henry and Neil face their most strenuous day of the expedition.
What a night, yeah. You cannot believe. And last night we were climbing these dunes. You see over there, it was all very hilly. Now it looks almost flat.
It really does bring it home.
Those guys, I genuinely feel, and it sounds a bit cheesy, but we owe our lives to them. Honestly, that's how severe it was. It was crazy.
Despite being exhausted, Henry and Neil faced their longest drive yet. 313 kilometres through China's lowest and hottest terrain, en route to Urumqi, the furthest city in the world from the ocean.
I didn't think we'd be pushing ourselves this hard. And now this is the hard part. It's getting harder. It's getting hotter. Every day we get in that car, it's getting hotter.
It feels barren here.
Yeah, this is
No, it's because the sky's dark as well.
yeah, it is. It feels very arid.
Temperature check at the moment is 40 degrees outside. Inside the cab, 42. And altitude, we are at minus 91 metres.
So we are now below the level of the sea.
And descending.
And descending.
Over the next 60 kilometres, their altitude continues to drop and the temperature rise. Adding to the stifling conditions are winds that drag in more heat from the surrounding deserts.
To our right, it's definitely what looks like it used to be an inland sea of some sort, or a vast lake.
So it's quite funny, we're looking at a complete and utter dry, flat lake bed.
And it's massive.
Yeah. And for the first time on the whole trip, we've got like quite an overcast sky, which makes this area especially, makes it feel like I'm on the moon again. I've said it a few times on this journey, but you're experiencing something that you've never experienced. It feels really bizarre.
In July 2011, the dried out Ading Lake recorded China's hottest temperature at 50.2 degrees centigrade in the shade. Nothing stirs here, since nothing can survive the scorching hellhole. Remain long in this environment and delirium would set in, followed by certain death. Finally, the boys' altimeter reads minus 154 meters. This is the lowest point in China, but for them, their highest point. Over 3.5 days, they've battled sinking sands, water shortages, precipitous dunes, and a vicious sandstorm. Now they've reached their last major landmark at one of the most bleak, inhospitable, and remote places on Earth.
Made it. We made it. Really enjoyed it, but... And sort of feels worth it. I'm glad there is a monument here. It's cool. Cool. Great. Well done. Yeah, and you did it.
Henry and Neil have proved man can survive this extreme heat examination. Now it remains to see how the machine coped.
This is going to be incredibly hot. So we've just topped 80 degrees. Wow. So that's warm. That's hotter than I'd expect. And the oil we've got in here is doing its job, that's for sure.
Yeah, sure.
And as you know, a grain of sand will actually, inside your engine, will do a huge amount of damage. I'm going to show you what this coarse sandpaper will do to an apple without any lubricant whatsoever. It's totally destroyed the skin of the apple. There's no lubricant, and that's what sand does to the inside of your engine. So let's take some oil now. Now, applying the same amount of pressure, this is doing no damage to the apple.
Yeah.
This film of oil is protecting the skin. That's exactly what happens inside the engine.
Right. Back on the road for the last time, this region of China is not just desert. There are areas of outstanding natural beauty. The limestone gorges of flaming mountains are set alight each day by nothing more than the colour of daylight. They are breathtaking in their beauty. The entire route of this expedition was once followed by Marco Polo back in the 13th century. Little has changed since then, until now. China's fast-track economic boom will soon see this route completely tarmacked over.
Incredible to be here and be the last ones travelling this way, but it's also kind of sad that this wilderness is now going to become a major artery into civilization.
Soon the boys get their first taste of tarmac after 4 days.
So I've been thinking, Henry, when this is all done, how is about me and you? You know, one day maybe...
Well, stop there.
I lost you at me and you. No, seriously. You know, just meeting up for a coffee sometime and just, you know, just hanging out. You can teach me how to ride a bike. And that would be cool. That would be cool.
A few hours later, they finally made it. The city of Urumqi brings to an end their epic 800-kilometre desert endurance test.
I didn't have much in the way of off-road driving experience before I got here, and I've come away with my fear of it, my fear of approaching it, completely gone. Between me and Henry, you know, there were some reservations when you meet an A-lister Hollywood actor, you know, how is that going to be? I didn't know if I'd actually get along with Henry, but he's a mate. Neil's fantastic, really, really nice guy, fantastic at driving, got us out of some very sticky situations. I've crashed motorcycles at well over 150 miles an hour. I'm used to driving to extremes. This was another level altogether. Trips like this can do nothing but change you. Experiencing extremes, seeing nature at its best, its most beautiful, its most dangerous, is a life-changing experience. Definitely driven to extremes.
Tom Hardy, the actor who plays Bane in The Dark Knight Rises.
Inside me, there is a bit of an explorer, adventurer, definitely.
And former F1 Ferrari driver Mika Salo.
Face is frozen, I can't smile anymore.
Two thrill seekers about to embark on the toughest road trip imaginable. They're in eastern Siberia, where winter temperatures plummet towards an inconceivable -70. They're here to see if they got what it takes to drive from Yakutsk, the coldest city on Earth, along the so-called Road of Bones to Omyakon, the coldest inhabited place on Earth. They'll have to cope with lethal roads coated with layers of rock-hard ice, unlit wilderness, tire-ripping terrain, and temperatures so cold that if the engine's turned off, it could freeze.
Oh, I switched off the engine by mistake.
Why would you do that?
Oh, by mistake.
It's a 1,000-kilometre drive on the coldest road in the world that will push man and machine.
Car 4 to car 1, we have a flat tyre. Stop convoy.
To the edge of what's survivable. Winter in Yakutsk, eastern Siberia, where temperatures regularly fall to a -40. It numbs exposed skin within seconds. The journey to Omyakon will take Tom and Mika east, over the frozen river Lena and onto the Kolymar highway. The further into the tundra they go, the colder it gets.
Your fingers will start to freeze and fall off, you know, if you leave them out of the gloves for long. That's not a joke.
I race normally when there's sunshine and strawberries are fresh always, and you also in bikinis, but here it's quite a little different.
Mika was in the top echelon of motorsport as a Formula One driver for 8 years. But this is driving to a completely different set of rules. The laws of extreme physical and mechanical survival. There's a definite adventurer in Tom Hardy, who has always relished the physical side of Hollywood roles he's embarked on in his career. The mission begins in a snowy city compound. Tom and Mika are about to meet the vehicle their lives will depend on for the next 7 days.
Let's take a look at what's going to take us across a highway of bones for the next 1,000 kilometres.
Oh, that's good. Good tires it has.
Oh, wow. And why do they have the metal studs? Is it what, so when you push...
ice. It just bites on the ice a little bit. And...
I think my fingers are frozen to the top of the car. Already.
It will take a very special set of preparations to cope where so many others fail. So Tom and Mika will be supported on this expedition by an elite team of experts. There's Matt McKenney, a consultant to explorer Sir Ranulph Fiennes.
Even the slightest incident can suddenly become life-threatening within seconds. The vehicles break down, or we're caught in a snowstorm or something like that, you could be stranded for days. Helicopters can't fly when there's thick fog, and we get a lot of fog when it's this cold.
Aldo Kane is the ex-Royal Marine Commando in charge of security.
Out of all the places I've been, this is definitely one of the most hostile with regards to living, operating and carrying out an expedition.
The man entrusted with modifying the vehicles so they cope with those conditions is former rally raid driver and adventure mechanic Paul Marsh.
It's a huge responsibility. The people's lives depend on vehicles like this. So the whole preparation period must have been about 6 months. And the build period was at least 200 hours.
Before their vehicle could be made fit for use in such extreme conditions, Paul took local advice on how to keep a motor running with upgrades like double glazing.
They doubled up the windows on that?
Yeah, they get frozen inside if they're not doubled.
And to protect the heart of the car, an insulating rug to stop the engine's coolant and oil from solidifying.
When you said we were going to travel across Siberia, I knew it was going to be pretty serious. This is just ridiculous, isn't it? You have to put a duvet on your car.
There's one other local trick that ensures your engine's pistons don't seize up. Simply never turn the engine off.
The engine will run 24/7 while we're out in sub-zero temperatures of -50 degrees. So that's where the oil plays a huge part, because if we don't have good oils in the engine, running your engine 24/7 could be a huge problem.
We have gone and changed every fluid in the vehicle. So the engine oil, which is a fully synthetic helix oil, that's gone into the engine. The front axle, rear axle, transfer box, gearbox have all had Shell fully synthetic oils in. These oils will operate in these conditions. They're designed to sort of go down to these sort of temperatures.
At -50, most tyres would simply shatter, and if fluids are allowed to freeze, the engine seizes.
I think it's okay. It's four-wheel drive and a good tire, so it goes anywhere. That works.
Yeah, that works.
It's 9 a.m. on day one. The journey is about to start.
There's no room on this expedition for dead weight at all, because everyone needs to look out for each other. And if they're not looking out for each other or themselves, then that's when injuries and accidents can happen.
All right, let's go then.
The first few seconds after a cold start are critical for an engine. The battery can struggle. The fuel evaporates slower. All the lubricants are gooey. Paul checks engine performance on a thermal imaging camera. All the mechanical components are in yellow, meaning the engine is operating at an even temperature. For this trip, car care is as essential as medical supplies.
You ever driven across the river before, Mick?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. With a snowmobile, yes.
In a snowmobile?
Yeah, not with a car.
At the city limits, the convoy reaches a 35-kilometre crossing of the River Lena. It's the 10th largest river in the world, and even though it's fast-flowing, at these temperatures, it's completely frozen for 8 months of the year.
There's the boats there.
Oh my God, there are boats. Oh, this is incredible. This is just the beginning. You wouldn't stand a chance if the ice cracked and you went through.
This must be a couple meters thick ice here.
Bloody well hope so.
Then they hit the Road of Bones, a major Siberian route built by prisoners of Stalin's harsh forced labour camps known as the Gulag. Then there's another thing the boys will have to get used to pretty quickly. It's not exactly littered with service stations for comfort breaks here. So when you see one of those rare roadside cafes, you stop. After 3 hours, they make it to their first lunch stop.
Kak Goma.
And while the crew get stuck into some local delicacies,
This is lung tissue.
Tom makes an important loo-related discovery.
Do you want to come and see a traditional Siberian toilet? Oh, the local commodes. Those stalagmites or stalactites? What do you reckon? It's just a big, steaming pile of coal.
Still to come, Tom takes on the locals, and tensions mount as conditions worsen.
He'll probably be dead by the time we get to him. Fact.
Actor Tom Hardy and former F1 driver Mika Salo are attempting to drive 1,000 kilometres along the coldest road on Earth, Siberia's Road of Bones.
Yeah, there's a reason why this particular road is called the Road of Bones. That's because the people that built the road were prisoners, people sent out into the wilderness to build this road. And many of them died and are now buried. They're buried underneath it, so.
This extreme climate and the harsh Gulag era have left Siberians mentally and physically strong. It's created an elite local sporting talent who eagerly await a wrestling contest with Tom and the team.
I wear tights and makeup for a living. I've promised myself that I'm not going to say no to anything on this journey, within reason, you know? Obviously, if the medics say that will kill you, then I won't do it.
After 5 hours of driving, the Cherapcha Institute of Physical Training, the grappling venue for Team Tom versus the local heavyweights. 2 Olympic gold wrestlers have been produced here, and the team have been invited to take part in a training session to see how it's still possible to have fun in a harsh environment. The philosophy here is that physical activity is the route to happiness for all. Except for Aldo, who gets taught a lesson in endurance rope climbing.
And after that, you can see why this gym's created 2 gold medalists.
With the team's pride now at stake, Tom and Aldo warm up before the evening's main event, about to establish British physical prowess against the local talent.
I'm going to take one for the team, Siberian style. In the middle of that circle right there. It's going to go really badly. I don't know the rules, and the dude that I'm being put up against, he gets serious.
This ancient form of wrestling is called capsugate, the Yakutian word for agile. A tactical dance followed by rapid attacks. The idea is to force some part of your opponent's body to the ground.
Oh, he's going to let me take his leg, isn't he?
It's a 3-round bout, and the end of the first round can't come soon enough for Tom.
I'm done.
Taught for over 1,000 years to Siberian warriors, capsugate is steeped in all the honour and tradition of a martial art.
He's just playing with me.
Yakutian etiquette says real heroes don't abuse their power, and it's disrespectful to show off your superior abilities. Out here, you don't brag if you're better.
He went really, really easy on me. So thank you, whoever the Siberian tooth fairy is, for saving my teeth. Aldo, would you like to go in and have a crack?
Not really.
You look at the territory that they live in, the terrain, you think about the strength and the humility and the patience that it takes to survive in a place like this. I think it's brilliant. And their humility in this dojo is wicked, and just it schooled me anyway.
Russia 2, Britain 0. It's 10 p.m. on day 1, and the team set off to find a room for the night. With temperatures in the -40s, safety systems like a convoy register after every pit stop are essential.
Number F, 1, 2, 3.
I'll explain it in a second.
4, 5, 6, 7,
8,
9, 10,
11, 12.
13, 14, 15, 16, last one.
That was quick. That was the quickest we've ever done it. We do numbering so we don't lose somebody by a tree taking a pee. Because by the time we work out we've lost number 9, we could be a mile down the road. And if we're a mile down the road and that man is exposed without his grab bag, which you should have him in at all times, then he'll probably be dead by the time we get to him. Fact.
The team are 250 kilometres into their journey. There are no hotels, so shelter has to be sought in a small museum of Russian culture.
So, end of day 1, and we're actually pitching tent in a museum. So should we see the boys? Lads taking it upon themselves to sleep amongst the artefacts. It's going to be a little warm. Night, night.
Day 2 is a 200-kilometre leg that will take the team to the foot of the mountains in Kandiga. Tom and Mika start by experiencing one of the harshest examples of the daily routine in Siberia.
We come to milk some cows.
Kesha is a Siberian dairy farmer who has tended a small and hardy herd here in isolation for more than 3 decades.
Check this out. That was a good squeeze. If I had to get my milk every morning like this, I'd never have time to get anything else done.
There's something coming, yeah. Oh, it's nice and warm.
Oh, you're on fire, pal.
It all goes in my sleeve.
That's shoplifting. Our cow farming friend, he built his own house, he said. And it took him 4 years to build his own house. The reason why he had to do it on his own and took 4 years is because the local workers that were helping him build his house were being paid in vodka and alcohol. And the alcohol ran out in the neighborhood. And so did the local help. Left him to build his own house on his own, as well as milk those cows every day as well.
Halfway through day 2, Adventure mechanic Paul carries out some vehicle checks.
You're always checking your vehicle because at any given point something could go wrong. These temperatures are actually, plastics can break, belts can actually shear off, wheel bearings, the greases can fail. You're always got to be on the careful, constant lookout for things that can go wrong. So far, actually, I'm really happy. The vehicles have performed flawlessly. This is our safety, this is our lifeline. If this thing packs up, we're in the middle of nowhere at extreme temperatures, and we won't survive. You know, we've got good warm kit, but we rely on this engine more than you can believe.
As the expedition continues, the rough road surface, combined with the fearsome cold, takes its toll on the Russian WAZ support vehicles.
We just stopped for a second again because we're having a lot of trouble with these cars. These WAZs, carburetors are falling off them, exhausts are falling off them, bits and bobs. Yet again, life goes on. If you have to climb under a car at -30, strap your exhaust pipe back onto your vehicle, then that's just what you have to do.
"400 kilometres from their start point, and still not halfway through, the team settles down for the night at a local house in Kandiga. These will be the last home comforts they will see on the trip.
So we have one in here, and it's warm. And it's also attached to a washing machine. Mac, our team leader, sort of amped it up a bit tonight, at dinner and said, look, we've had a jolly for the last couple of days, and now it's getting serious.
It's going to be hard. It's getting colder, we're going higher, and more wind, more open spaces, and no help.
Again, we've got lots of bodies to help.
It's day 3, and the team assemble for a 5 a.m. departure.
It's very cold outside. About -400, I think.
Slight exaggeration. The temperature has plummeted to -40. The engines haven't been turned off since the start of the journey in Yakutsk. Allow the engine temperature to fall below -50, and it's possible the oil and coolant will freeze, seizing the cylinders, ending any hopes of reaching the finishing line. But force of habit is a funny thing.
I switched off the engine by mistake. No, I'm not supposed to do it.
Why would you do that?
Well, by mistake.
You're a professional driver. Why would you make a mistake like that?
I'm used to switch off when I stop in the garages, so it's...
Is that smart?
No, diesel freezes at -50.
And it's -49.
It's for -49, so we're fine.
So maybe we should start the engine.
Yeah, I don't think we should screw around with this thing.
That's what I think too.
This is our lifeline.
Yes.
In 4 days, this car's...
Thank God that just lit back up again.
It's the harshest possible place to test cold starting, but the synthetic oil clearly stays viscous and lets the engine's parts spring immediately back into life. Put simply, a bad choice of oil can leave you stranded.
So we're really going to rely on that vehicle now. That's it. It's really very cold outside. If we break down and we don't have any heat, that's it, really. I mean, that's the reality of it. We've got loads and loads of kit. It's great. We've got great team leaders, but it is Siberia and it's going to get colder.
Yeah, that's the worst thing what can happen if the car breaks down, because then you lose the heat. And that's it.
And it's only a matter of minutes before you get hypothermia and die.
The car, it's done a good job so far. We had no problems at all. Roll bars for safety. There's a lot of trucks, and they're not the safest in the world. They drive sometimes middle of the road, so it's good to have a safe car. I think I can hit something pretty big with this without getting hurt. Then, of course, good tires, Finnish-made winter tires, some studs on them. These are best you can have. Basically, they are good on snow and ice. And it's all blanked to keep the temperature up so we can get some heat in the cockpit, and the engine temperature is higher. I still think that it should have a 300 more horsepower and be for fun.
Once we're in the mountains, we're easily going to be heading towards the -50 mark. Basically, there's no civilization for 300 miles.
These mountains look incredible. And then suddenly it hits me that we're actually going to drive up and through them, aren't we? I'm a bit nervous about mountain. I don't like mountain roads.
As the team reach the 500-kilometre point, the convoy stops off to take part in a traditional ceremony, asking the shaman gods for a blessing.
To give and gift something. I've got a little something that I've made here, out of some trinkets of mine, for safe passage through the mountains, basically, and also to give something to the spirits. There's a very serious edge to this road. I think that's what I'm trying to get across. Let's go and have a look. Let's go out and get cold.
What we're doing is we are asking for the soft and nice road without any brake for the vehicles. So by putting and giving offers for the fire, the smoke from the fire will reach the sky and ask from the gods for our blessing.
For the second half of this deep freeze road trip, the boys are going to need all the help they can get to tackle the most dangerous leg so far. Still to come, the Road of Bones bites back, and Tom and Mika brave freezing waters.
That's enough for me. Oh.
Tom Hardy and Mika Salo, together with their support team, are halfway into a 1,000-kilometre journey to Oymukon, the coldest inhabited place on Earth. Progress is slow for what you might call biological reasons.
I need to pee.
Careful where you're filming there, keep the camera up. This is one of our 300 a day pee stops that we always end up having here. Just due to the absolute freezing cold temperatures here, all our blood vessels constrict, puts the blood pressure up, and the body's own way of getting rid of that pressure is to make us want to go to the toilet. A lot. A lot.
Paul the mechanic keeps a regular check on the engines and is satisfied that despite round-the-clock running for 3 days, everything is functioning correctly.
We're heading off into the mountains. There's always a risk of avalanches and rock slides. There are some pretty gnarly bridges up there that we've got to cross.
From now on in, it gets more remote, more dangerous, more arduous, and certainly the temperatures are going to be a lot colder. Yesterday we had a recorded temperature in Oymukon, where we're going to, of minus 68, which is only 3 degrees off the coldest temperature ever recorded there.
This is true wilderness. 12 hours from the nearest warm bed, 6 hours from the nearest rescue helicopter, and at temperatures already at minus 40, the team find their shelter for the night at a reindeer herders camp.
Okay, so we've made contact with our reindeer herder, and our team leader is asking us to meet him up at the tents, which is just up here. We're coming off the road now. We're going to cross into the snow with our own vehicles. For some reason, we just had mad chaos over the radio. Lots of Yakutian going down. Not really sure what's going on.
No. Okay, we're halfway between Kandaga and Kubume. We're about as remote as we possibly can be. We've arrived at about 6:30 in the evening. It's minus 35. We've managed to get up this track. But as you can see, we've got a bit of an issue with the WAZ drivers. Over-enthusiastic in their parking, and they just pile it into the snow, as this guy is now doing. And we're going to have a second WAZ stuck. Excellent!
We're just trying to get them parked so that we can get out in the case of an emergency.
We don't want the tyres to freeze solid to the ground and snow, because then when you're trying to move off, you can imagine this ice is holding the axle solid, and you're putting a lot more strain on the drivetrain. So that's the main plan, is to keep everything nice and high off the snow, engines running, nice and warm. This keeps us alive. It's that serious.
I think it was about minus 35, 36 when we got out the vehicles, and the vehicles have to stay on overnight to make sure that the engine doesn't freeze up. And so if there is any change in wind direction in the middle of the night, any of the fumes from the vehicles can come into the tent, so it's quite a big safety implication that we have to have carbon monoxide detectors and fire detectors in every single tent where everyone's going to be spending the night. We're a very, very long way away from help at the minute.
This morning, When we got up at about 7 o'clock, it was minus 47. Traditionally, this area is normally about 10 degrees lower, and we're more exposed. So tomorrow, be aware that when you get up, minus 55 to minus 60 is very likely, okay?
Over here, come and have a look at this.
The boys unpack and get ready for their first night in the open.
If you can listen, you can hear the bells. You see that? It's a little bit chilly. Hopefully we'll make it through the night.
Yeah.
Good night. Spasiba.
Day 4. First arrives Aldo, who starts the lengthy getting dressed routine. 4 layers covering the legs.
Layer 1. Second layer on. Third layer on.
Hefty boots made to withstand temperatures as low as minus 100 degrees. And then 4 layers on his top half.
Let's just go and get some breakfast.
The reindeer herders have already been awake for some time tending the herd and getting breakfast organised for the team.
Hi. Come and have a cup of tea and some soup.
Aldo discovers from the herdsmen that nature provides them with solutions to keeping their feet warm when the temperature outside is approaching minus 60 degrees.
These boots that these guys have got on here are made of reindeer fur, and obviously these fibres are hollow in there, so it traps a lot more heat in there. And they were saying they could go down to about minus 70 or 80 in these.
Yeah?
And these ones?
Someone else being kept cosy by natural fibres isn't quite ready for a day's work yet. But in Tom and Mika's tent, cosy and warm it isn't, as Tom finds out. Everything liquid in the tent is frozen solid.
I got thirsty and I couldn't find water nowhere because everything is...
This is how cold it is here.
Look how beautiful this is. When we turn up in the dark, couldn't see anything, and now it's fantastic. It's like we stayed in Father Christmas's yard. And not only that, can you hear that? Can you hear that? Not only did we survive the night, the car survived the night.
At these temperatures, every pothole is as vicious as jagged steel. And 650 kilometres into the journey, the inevitable happens.
Car 4 to car 1, we have a flat tyre. Stop convoy.
Roger, stop convoy.
Hollywood A-lister and Formula 1 driver, thousands of miles from their chauffeurs and pit crew, simply crack on with the necessary.
Very impressed with the guys getting stuck in there, not acting like superstars, and especially when some people like the Marines stop training at minus 30. We are well past that now. And if you think this is all scripted or stunted, this is the real deal here. Nick, the cameraman, has been filming this incident and changing the tyre for only about sort of 10 minutes or so, and already his fingers are starting to get the early stages of frostbite on them. So the best thing for it is body heat. Obviously we are quite warm inside these jackets. His hand's inside here now and his fingers are starting to warm up, but we need to do it slowly.
It's fine. Ready to go.
This is Kuberme, the last truck stop before Omyakon. There are reminders everywhere that the hardest part of the drive is still to come,
All good.
But at least the locals are friendly.
You want to get going? Come on now.
20 kilometres further on, the team approach an eerie abandoned village.
Why don't we go take a look in one of these houses?
Should we go in there?
Yeah, go down there. Go down there.
Are you picking up houses, yeah? I'm going to get out of this car right now and I'm going to have a look in this house. You going to come with me?
This was once inhabited by mining folk, until the minerals they were excavating ran out, and with no more work,
Hello?
the community moved on.
That's a nice double bed. Nice warm double bed. Poster on the wall of this bedroom. Here. And why would you put a poster of a double bed on the wall that was nice and warm and cozy like that, if you didn't aspire to having one? It's quite sad, this place, isn't it? This is, I think, the thing that's got me really sad. Because you have to, you have to wear socks with all this. And the mittens.
Even though summer temperatures here do reach 25 Celsius, it's still a moving example of how tough Siberians have to be. They're 3/4 of the way through their journey, 10,000 bone-shaking kilometres from Moscow.
That's it. That's where we're going.
That's the river, yeah.
You're right on the water. Right.
Here they're going to meet the closest thing Yakutia has to celebrity, Andre the Walrus.
Unbelievable.
A man famous for, unbelievably, swimming in the frozen river.
You swim?
In the river?
Yeah.
Every day?
Yeah.
You go every day you go?
Yeah.
That's right. What am I doing?
Andre is convinced the boys' health will benefit from a cold shock to the system, supercharging their heart and circulatory system.
He's not bothered, look at that.
Aldo, with his survival experience, is less convinced.
Or anything slightly more than a minute, then you're going to start going downhill seriously quickly, possibly end up in death.
Really? Yeah! Yeah? Yeah! Really? Can I do that? Really?
The body's core temperature is around 37 degrees, and it only has to drop to 35 before hypothermia sets in.
Oh!
Andre knows only too well it's the extremities that will start to shut down first, so it's straight on with the boots and gloves and not much else.
Сейчас поеду в баню, попарюсь.
You up for it? I'll be in my trailer. I'll see you guys later. Nice work.
Let's go.
The water instantly freezes back over. Not surprising when temperatures are reaching minus 37. So what do Mika and Tom do to clear a path?
Good luck, mate.
Send in the Marine.
That's handy.
The water is substantially warmer than the air, so it's only when you get out of the river that the dangers start. It's now minus 40, and it's time for Tom and Mika to take the icy plunge.
Yeah!
Oh,
yeah! Yeah!
That's enough for me. Oh,
They're on the brink of a medical emergency and need to get warm fast.
His circulatory system will be closing down from all his extremities, so he'll be feeling, if we ask him now, probably his feet will be almost numb.
Like a stone toe.
What can happen is you can dress them when they're cold, and they can stay cold in the core, so it's important that you warm it up first before you then put the feet back in the boots.
When I came in the car, I couldn't feel my feet. It was like somebody was pushing knives into my bottom of my feet. It was just tingling like hell. But I feel great now. I feel warm. I think I could run around in bikinis outside there.
Andre thinks even a bikini is overdressing for the next stage.
Good. What do you think? This is awesome.
A visit to his excruciatingly hot sauna.
Oh yeah. Whoa. Oh. Now this is what it's all about. Genuinely. This is amazing. This is good.
Amazing life.
Amazing.
Beautiful life.
Yeah, beautiful.
My beautiful life.
No stress.
No stress. Вообще нету стресса. No stress.
Anxiety.
I'm jealous.
Я свободный человек.
Cheers. Спасибо. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Still to come. After a 5-day expedition, the team reached the coldest inhabited place on Earth.
You can't describe it. It's just something you have to see it with your own eyes.
Tom Hardy and Mika Salo are in Tomtor, the last stop before heading to the coldest inhabited place on Earth. After 950 kilometres of driving and engines running round the clock for 7 days, Paul and Mac take the opportunity to change the oil. Despite continuous exposure to this hostile environment, the engine has performed perfectly, and the oil looks just as you'd expect.
The oil has got a detergent in it to clean all the sort of engine out, and you'll get particles building up in the oil. So we expect a bit of discoloration in the oil. Still exceptionally good though. We want to see how the oil is actually being affected by this icy cold temperature. This is a mineral-based oil. It's about a 2020 grade, something we bought locally. And I'd like to catch it, but this is like treacle. You would not want this oil in your engine. Here's the next oil. This is again a mineral oil. It's a 2050, more of a summer oil. And you can see this is like treacle as well. This is almost practically frozen. It's almost like an ice cube. The next oil we've got is the fully synthetic oil. And as you can see, this is running. There we go.
And so, after 5 days on the road, there's just under 2 hours driving left before Omyakon, holder of the incredible minus 71.2 degree Siberian record. Even for Mika, a Finnish national used to sub-zero living, this part of the frozen planet is extreme.
I think the cars are our lifeline. You know, whatever happens, as long as the engine is running, you always can find heat. Because you just see here, if something goes wrong, you can't stay outside more than a couple of minutes. And already now, it came out here, and I can't feel my nose anymore.
It's minus 50 again now. Bitterly cold, but the equipment's holding out well, the vehicles are doing well. Got about an hour and a half to the final destination of Omyakon. So the guys have got to stay sharp, and although obviously there's the elation of reaching it, we've still got to look after each other, and then we've still got to return.
There's a reason why Omyakon is the coldest habited place on Earth, and well, there's 3 reasons actually. One is because it is miles and miles away from any source of water, sea or ocean, so it doesn't get any thermal winds at all. The second is that it lies in a basin surrounded by mountains, and of course cold air is trapped there. And the third is because nobody paid their heating bill last year.
And this is it, Omyakon. So extreme they call it the pole of cold, where the ground never thaws.
Have we made it?
It's really beautiful.
It is.
The streets are completely empty, but every single house has a chimney burning, so there are people here.
There's some kind of monument here. Let's go what it says.
There's a rainbow. Yeah. Actually, the rainbow is pointing directly down onto the monument.
Yeah.
That's clearly got something to do with the shaman. I think we're all pretty excited to have arrived there.
This is really definitely one of the once-in-a-lifetime deal for me, and I'm really happy I went, and especially with Tom, we had a really good laugh in the car, and we enjoyed every moment of it.
What do you think?
It's cold.
Yeah. It's nice when someone becomes something that I no longer read about or hear about, but I've actually seen for myself, and so I'm really grateful for the opportunity to actually be standing here today with Mika.
Yeah, that was good.
Because I can't drive, and I'd never be able to get us here. We'd still be stuck back in
Yeah, you're just saying that now. You're driving back, I drove here.
We'd be in first gear all the way.
With temperatures hitting -50,
it's hot.
It's absolutely solid.
It's cold enough for some magical effects to take place.
What's that? See that?
There's a brake. No.
It's solid.
Funny.
See that?
Omnicon's 500 inhabitants endure winters here with just 3 hours of daylight. It's no surprise they love visitors, so the expedition finishes with a traditional local ceremony that's become a euphoric celebration about making the journey to Omnicon in one frozen piece and conquering the coldest road on Earth.
You have to see it yourself, really. It's not just that place. The whole trip we did and road leading up to the Omnicon, it's just, I can't describe it. It's just something you have to see with your own eyes.
For me, certainly, it was the most amazing thing I've ever done. To come away somewhere so far away from home and so cold and with such cool people and do something so, like, real, really, really cool.
I would do it again. Not in the next few months. I need sun. I need some sun and warmth now on the beach and some pina coladas or something.
Oops.
Sure that your friend is also vacillated on his nose and his cheeks to Omnicon. Mika, I can't actually drive. Oh, man. No, it was a very humbling experience. For me, it was life-changing. I used to steal them. I can't drive them.
Hollywood star Adrien Brody and former Formula One ace Mika Salo are in Malaysia to take on one of the toughest, wettest drives on the planet during the monsoon season.
Just jammed there, bang.
Carving its way through dense jungle, the Ulu Sedili Trail is a brutal assault course of lethal mud-filled swamps, uncharted river crossings,
oh my God,
unpredictable flash floods, and wildlife that can bite, sting, ow, and kill. Their ultimate goal will be to reach the summit of the Ulu Sedili Hills, the highest point being a 700-meter treacherous mountain of mud.
It's like a wall.
Miles from civilization.
No way.
This is not acting.
Actor Adrien Brody and former racing driver Mika Salo are in the south of Malaysia bracing themselves for the most daunting road trip of their lives.
Hello, hi.
Hello.
As an ex-Ferrari Formula One legend, Salo is more used to the smooth tarmac of an F1 circuit than jungle driving.
There's a lot of new things for me, which is, involves driving in the jungle, and of course I've driven a lot of cars, but never in the jungle.
And for Adrien, a Best Actor Oscar winner, this promises a whole new radical experience.
I'm excited at the prospect of adventure here, and when there's cars thrown into the mix, it just makes it even more enjoyable. Where's this vehicle? Right here? Nice. I'm here to learn, become a better driver. I'm sure there'll be a lot of obstacles, both literal and metaphorical, right? We're gonna be relying on this a lot.
They're home for the next few days. This especially modified extreme off-road beast.
That's awesome.
That looks amazing. A 4.2-liter V6 diesel engine. I guess it's enough for us. I don't think we need much speed there.
No. You see the snorkel? So we'll be this high, I guess, underwater. So what happens when this is above water, but when we're below water? This is the glass breakage device. When you're this far underwater.
Is there air condition?
I think they removed the air conditioner because it's too heavy.
Oh, thank you.
The car looks the part. Now, the burning question.
Who's driving? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You go. Paper gets the rock. All right, you're driving.
That's it.
All right. All right, let's do it. All right.
Finally moving.
Yeah. So last time I was in Malaysia, I went to see Formula One, and then I went off-road driving on quads. And here I am back, and now I'm off-road driving with a Formula One driver. That's awesome.
Anticipating a bumpy, stomach-churning ride ahead, Adrian's leaving nothing to chance.
Motherfucker. Motherfucker is a traditional product. Keeping it with you while you travel helps to take away dizziness and prevent vomiting. I figured we could use it. You wanna try it? Oh.
That is bad.
Now I know why they call it that. Oh, that's disgusting.
Adrien and Mika's Ulu Sedili expedition will be extra tough. They'll have to battle 30 kilometers of grueling dirt driving during the height of the monsoon season. Up to 20 inches of rain can fall in a day, turning trickling streams into raging torrents. It should take them 3 days and nights, but dicing with this unpredictable weather can make the trail impassable.
This is definitely one of the most dangerous expeditions I've ever been on. The environment is one of the most inhospitable known to man and machine. It's going to be extremely dangerous.
To give the boys a fighting chance with their mission, they've recruited Malaysian off-road expert Jerry Tay. He's requested they meet at a local jungle driving school.
You gotta know what to expect from the jungle. The flora and fauna can be dangerous, so knowing what to touch, what not to touch. Try and make more noise than usual to scare the snakes away. All this is the potential dangers of off-roading in the jungle.
With so many dangers lurking, driving safely and protecting your vehicle is imperative.
Mika and Adrien can learn a lot about off-roading here from the local drivers and me. How to drive in the mud, how to drive a steep hill, deep ruts, how do you cross over a rut, knowing the proper hand signals, trusting the people around you. You have to winch off the tree in front of you.
Jerry's final lesson is the most important: how to winch safely out of a tight spot. It's essential they master this, as getting stranded deep in the jungle can mean life or death.
The biggest thing here is for me to learn all these techniques. I got to learn how to use this winch properly.
It's good to practice everything possible, so when actually really hit the problems in the jungle, it's good to be prepared.
Training over, Adrien and Mika have a 100-kilometer drive to the Ulu Sedili Trail.
We're on the edge of civilization now.
An ideal opportunity to find out more about your new traveling companion.
What school did you go for acting?
I went to American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I took 4 trains each way to go to school to the worst neighborhoods of Brooklyn, Queens. The insight I gained from character study on all those trains to learning way more about character and human nature than anything I could have learned in the classroom of those 4 years, because you know, in New York there's like homeless people, businessmen, gangsters, and all walks of life, everybody packed into these trains.
As for Mika, his childhood was dominated by burning rubber.
I was 5, we were living like a few miles from one race circuit in Finland, and my father put me in the races. I started winning immediately, so 1 year I won all 14 races I started. I won Finnish championship, Scandinavian championship, and European championship 1 year. Then I got an offer from Japan to drive Formula 3000 in Japan. That was first time I was getting paid like $1.5 million for me for racing. I was only 20 years old. They doubled my salary every year. And I did 11 years in Formula 1.
Eventually, Adrien and Mika enter the Ulu-Sedili Trail.
Here we go, up to the jungle.
But before they can get stuck into their challenge, the locals insist on a traditional jungle blessing.
One is for the jungle spirits, and the other one is for our guardians. Like, we believe that every one of us has a guardian, right? And basically just telling our guardians that we are also entering this jungle and that to come protect us.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Let's hope it helps.
Yeah, that's good. It normally does.
Good.
But not on this occasion.
It's a heavy rain coming.
Not the best start to a mission which is about to get serious. Ahead is 30 kilometers of the toughest driving on Earth.
Oh man, it's gonna be a monsoon season.
It's gonna rain a lot.
They have flash floods here too.
Just a few minutes in, there's a problem. They're having to negotiate a network of old logging trails through dense jungle. Rather like an overgrown maze, it's extremely disorientating.
I feel like we're going in a circle, just back to the main road very soon here.
Add torrential rain, and it becomes even harder to stay on course.
We are going in a circle, look. Look at our GPS, look.
Yeah.
That's a complete circle.
Unbelievable. They turned around again.
Boy.
We are so lost.
The jungle has flummoxed their experienced guide, Jerry.
Yes.
This won't be so funny if it happens in the depths of the jungle or in the notorious Ulu-Sedili Hills. Having lost an hour's precious travelling time, expedition leader Matt McKenney is worried they're falling dangerously behind schedule.
We were supposed to cross a river tonight and camp the other side, which is another very, very slow hazard that you have to try.
Oh, that sucks.
Already, this could put us behind where we won't even get out in time. If we can get out at all. We haven't even come across the difficult stuff. This has just been a slow warm-up to it.
Coming up, nerve-wracking river crossings, mega swamps, and bloodthirsty predators. All threaten the team's mission to reach the infamous Ulu-Sedili Hills. Hollywood star Adrien Brody and Formula One ace Mika Salo are attempting the toughest, wettest drive of their lives in the Malaysian rainforest. They're taking on the brutal 30-kilometre Ulu-Sedili Trail during the monsoon season, complete with river crossings, swamps, and a formidable 700-metre jungle hill. But just 1 hour into their expedition, they found trouble.
Look at our GPS. Look.
We are so lost.
Now they're way behind their day one schedule of reaching a campsite almost 12 kilometres into the rainforest. With only a few hours daylight remaining, they must get a move on.
Oh, man. You think it could be any more humid? It's so humid it's raining in the car with the windows closed.
In hot, humid conditions, perspiration is far less effective at lowering body temperature.
Soaking wet. I mean, really.
Your body has to sweat overtime and can lose more than a pint an hour. In extreme cases, dehydration is fatal. So Adrien and Mika must constantly take on fluids.
It's gonna get gnarly. Do my best, all right, buddy?
The deeper they head into the trail, the slower progress becomes.
Ow!
Still having fun?
Yeah, definitely having fun. Hold that.
After an hour fighting the jungle, the boys encounter small rivers spanned by rickety makeshift bridges.
That's a big drop down there, so.
That'll hurt. That'll hurt us. We go over.
Each time they reach a crossing, it becomes ever more precarious. Now take local guide Jerry to help them navigate a safe path.
The most important thing of a bridge crossing is to watch and trust your signalman, because he can see whatever you can't see in the car.
You should see the roads in Queens, come on.
It's approaching dusk, and they still have a few kilometers to travel to their campsite. By the time they reach the day's final river crossing, visibility is extremely poor, and the bridge is barely wide enough to take a vehicle.
Adrien, 5 miles only, please.
Adrien now faces a nerve-wracking test of his driving skills.
Problem is the bridge is so slippery.
Go slow.
Go slow, but don't do anything with the throttle. If you get a little bit wheel spin, you might just make it.
Yeah.
It's a big drop down there, so.
If he gets it wrong, they will plunge 8 foot into the water and risk serious injury.
Adrien, just make sure you're in first gear, low range, and do it on tick over. No revs required, okay?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, stop. Reverse.
Oh my God.
Adrien is millimeters from tumbling over the edge.
Just on tick over. No need for any revs whatsoever.
Oh,
Yeah, we are way off the line.
holy.
After a scary, narrow escape, he lines up his car once more, but it's almost pitch black.
And now, keep it very steady. Control it on the clutch, no revs. Front wheels are clear.
Thank you, Jerry. That was good. I didn't even see that. I didn't see it. I would have gone off that bridge. I didn't see it.
It's now 7:30 at night. After stumbling around in the dark for another half hour, they make it safely to camp, where they find expedition safety expert Old O'Kane looking for hidden dangers overhead.
So basically just checking for deadfall, which is wood or trees or logs up in the canopy that have been rotted by either termites or by lightning strikes. Deadfall kills more people in the jungle than anything else, than any wild animals, any insects, anything else, second to flooding and drowning.
I'm gonna be in my car.
Adrien's luxurious accommodation is already waiting for him. A basic army cot in a cramped one-man tent.
My last semi-clean shirt goes inside the bag, inside out. Nighty-night.
It's unlikely anyone will get a restful sleep, though, as the camp is being besieged by creatures. of all shapes and sizes.
Just look up here.
While most are merely interested in the camp lights, lurking is a parasite that's only after one thing: blood.
Oh. I just pulled a leech off my leg.
They're being overrun by these voracious bloodsuckers.
It's already had, man.
Leeches thrive in warm, wet rainforests. These extraordinary creatures have 32 brains, 3 jaws filled with sharp teeth, and a strong sucker for latching onto their prey. As they feed, they secrete an anticoagulant, which prevents blood from clotting. The safest way to remove them is by burning them off or insect repellent.
It's important that everyone checks themselves before they go to bed for leeches under armpits, back of the head, behind the ears, groin, crotch.
It ain't no place that's safe.
Yeah.
The jungle is living up to its hardcore reputation. And for good measure, as they turn in for the night, the monsoon strikes with real vengeance. Their challenge has just got a whole heap tougher.
This is a very, very violent thunderstorm. Plus, we don't know what's been happening 100, 200, 300 miles away, further upstream. And there could be even more rain, so water's probably still on its way down. So any rivers we were going to cross are now going to be deeper.
Malaysia has recorded daily rainfall of over 20 inches during the monsoon season. And after last night's torrential downpour, the ground is completely saturated.
Aliens.
Day 2's target is to drive 8 kilometres to the base of the Ulu Sedili Hills. They'll need to watch out for fallen debris and localised flooding. Adrien and Mika's car is sure to take a battering, so expedition engineer Paul Marsh gives it the once-over.
We're going to encounter, with the rain we had last night, a lot more trees denting the side of the vehicle, branches that stick up, they can rip brake lines, they can do quite a lot of damage to the underneath of the vehicle. It's a lot more mud, which is going to be thick and gloopy, so I know that these engines are going to be running at the top end on the temperature scales. And of course the oil's got to do its job. This vehicle's got us in here, it's got to take us out. This is our lifeline.
Right, guys, it's 8:25. I want us out of here within 5 minutes, okay?
Come on, Mika. Blow this joint.
Barely 100 yards from camp, and a monsoon swamp has swallowed them up.
It just jammed there, bang. No way.
10 hours of this?
They're well and truly stuck, and at the mercy of the jungle leeches. Coming up, Adrien, Mika, and the expedition crew battle floodwaters.
That's up to my neck now.
And the boys are forced into their first perilous river crossing. Hollywood superstar Adrien Brody and ex-Formula One legend Mika Salo are tackling Malaysia's Ulu Sedili Trail during the monsoon season. Having battled risky river crossings and menacing jungle leeches, their Day 2 target is to reach a campsite at the foot of the Ulu Sedili Hills. Their expedition mission: climb this 700-metre mound of boggy rainforest to reach the summit of the Ulu Sedili Hills. But for now, their minds are only focused on extracting their car from a leech-infested swamp. It's clear they're in a hole, and need rescuing.
Keep your head down if it snaps.
There's over 20,000 pounds of braking strain on the winch cable. If it snaps, the backlash could do untold damage to both the car and its occupants.
Okay, I think it's safe now.
The previous night, there was a violent monsoon storm. And as they battle the next few kilometres, evidence of this is everywhere.
Yeah, there's a log down.
The slippery, debris-strewn track demands razor-sharp reflexes.
Sorry.
But even a Formula One racer can't avoid the odd prank.
It ain't racing if you're not touching paint.
But do you realize what I'm doing all the time? It's all the time what's hitting something is that side. Comes from rally. Always, if you go off the road, always go with that side first.
Really?
But then I don't hurt myself.
How selfish of you.
Yeah.
In these conditions, the car's underbelly is at its most vulnerable.
Okay, it's gonna be bumpy now.
To avoid terminal damage, Mika must tiptoe his way through the debris. His 4.2-litre V6 engine is loaded with torque, so he's using only tick-over revs to manoeuvre his way.
No problem at all.
Soon, though, the boys reach an obstacle that's even beyond Mika's capability.
Paul, what's the status ahead?
Adrian, we've got a situation with the river. It's far too high for us to cross at the moment. Over.
Copy that.
Oh no. That might mean we have to go back.
Flood water from the overnight monsoon deluge is blocking their path. And their expedition target, the Ulusidili Hills, on the other side.
Yeah, Gary, how deep is this normally, this river?
Normally it's about 2 to 3 feet deep.
Okay. We've got to go and test it, but we reckon it's at least 5 feet deep, maybe more. And our maximum is probably around 4.
Wow.
Yeah, full safety,
okay.
Yeah.
So this water change is a result of last night's
Probably last
downpour?
night, yeah. It was pretty torrential, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm floating now,
Right.
almost. So.
Well, to measure it.
The flow looks strongest just there where you are now.
1 cubic metre of water weighs 1,000 kilograms, or 1 metric ton. If there's significant flow and the water level rises above the wheel arches, the force exerted on the car body can easily flip it over.
That's up to my neck now.
Yeah.
That's way too deep for our car.
Keep going. If there was no flow, it was just a big muddy puddle.
Well, that'd be fine, but
it would be a lot safer. It's you've got the depth and the flow, so you've got 2 dangers thrown in.
So Mac, what's our option if this is too strong? We have to find another route.
Another route round.
Having braved the river leeches, jungle specialist Aldo Kane leads a reconnaissance team for an alternative crossing. But after half an hour struggling through dense undergrowth, they can't find a route through.
Let's get out of here.
This is now a race against time. With no options left, the team decide to turn back the way they came and make a dash for the Ulusidili Hills from the south.
We're not going to be beaten by the Ulusidili Trail. The problem we've got is that to try and tack it from the south, it's going to be very challenging. Bearing in mind that everything we would have come down, we've now got to climb, so it's going to be much tougher for us, but we're not going to give up.
All right, Mac, let's get a move on. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of this jungle, quick.
As they retrace their tire tracks, the jungle conspires against them.
Oh, I got a leech. Stop.
In the pants.
In my pants, yeah. Leeches are like alien creatures. They're so creepy to me. Yeah. Latch on and suck your blood like visibly within moments. Oh, leeches, malaria, deadfall, chainsaws. A lot of stuff out there.
Let's keep going faster. Let's keep going.
As time drags on and the prospect of another night drive looms, Mika puts his foot down.
It's about to get crazy. Crazy in here.
Driving at full pelt, he powers out of the jungle and picks up the Ulu-Sidili Trail from the south. They're now 10 kilometers away from their target, the Ulu-Sidili Hills.
Good job. Dumb. I do that too. I sneeze twice usually from this gum. Here you go. Two, all the time. Yeah.
As they venture back into the trail, it's not long before they're fighting the jungle again.
Oh, you have your window open.
Kidding me?
And confronting another major river crossing. The bridge is washed away in the monsoon rains.
What are we gonna do now? There's no way we're getting across here.
No one's getting across here.
Having failed to reach the Ulu-Sidili Hills from the north, it appears they're thwarted once more.
There's a shallow point there. Let's try there.
All right.
Let's go there.
Yeah, go down there and I'll go check it out.
This may just offer an alternative route. But Adrien must enter the leech-infested water to make sure.
I think this is fine though. To here?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, so you want to go on this bank. It's nice. Yeah, straight shot. This is a little deeper.
Okay.
Yeah, don't
go
go here.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Adrian's never done this before. If he's missed a submerged log or a giant boulder, they could be in big trouble.
Easy. Easy.
Good man. Good man. Well done.
The boys are now coming to the end of the day's grueling 9-hour drive. In these ultra-humid conditions, it's easy to sweat 10 litres and lose 8 kilograms in weight.
Oh, God. Oh, I want to get some air.
Associated salt loss affects muscles and nerves and can lead to a metabolic condition called hyponatremia. Symptoms include cramps, vomiting, convulsions, and hallucinations.
It's about 38 degrees outside.
Inside is about 50. And the car's hot and full of leeches.
It smells like hell.
Yeah, but that's you.
You sure? You sure, buddy? Oh, God. Look how close we are.
In the distance are the Ulu-Sidili Hills. Tomorrow will be make or break for their Malaysian jungle mission. The next morning, expedition engineer Paul Marsh devises a test to make sure Adrien and Mika's car is ready for this challenge. Driving a four-wheel drive vehicle in low gear through deep mud uphill pushes the engine to the max, sending oil temperatures to almost 200 degrees centigrade. If the oil oxidizes under this heat, it will break down and turn into sludge and cease to do its job of protecting the engine.
The critical element for any expedition is a failure on a component. And your engine, the drive lines, they're critical components. If these fail due to heat or breakdown of any sort of manner, you have a real problem. So definitely the heat has affected the oil. The oil has actually turned slightly darker. But what I have noticed, there's no oxidation element traces. That's very reassuring for me. This oil is doing its job. It's protecting the engine. That is what we need in these jungle conditions.
Their goal is to reach the summit of the Ulu Sidili Hills. But to do that will mean tackling a notorious 700-metre boggy incline. And to make things even tougher, they've received warnings to expect another monsoon deluge. So driving honours for this ultimate off-road challenge naturally go to Adrien.
Well, it'll be interesting. You know, I'm sure it's going to be more difficult than I anticipate, for sure. Yeah. I kind of know what we're headed for. It's going to be serious stuff. Crazy to drive through this.
This is a serious job.
Yeah, this is so great.
After 6 kilometres of relatively simple off-roading, the boys reached their target.
Stop here. So that doesn't look very good for us.
Not good at all. It's like a wall. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Where you are.
Yeah,
don't go into that rut. Yeah. Don't go there.
No, keep the right wheel over there.
Oh, okay. You good?
Go for it. You missed it.
No, I didn't miss it. Slipped in.
Every failed attempt is churning up the mud. Soon the track will be undrivable. After 20 mud-splattering minutes, they've gone nowhere. It looks like Adrien will not be crowned King of the Hill, after all. Coming up, the Ulu Sidili climb more than lives up to reputation. And Adrien's resolve is tested to the limit.
No way.
Star of the silver screen, Adrien Brody, and former F1 racing driver Mika Salo have spent 2 days and nights battling everything the Malaysian jungle can throw at them. Their mission, to reach the summit of the Ulu Sidili Hills, is at a critical stage. It's the final day of their expedition, and Adrien, who's tasked with driving this challenge, is hitting a muddy wall.
Okay, there's no way.
The first part of their hill climb is the steepest and most demanding. If they can't conquer this, it's game over.
That was a bumper.
Their only hope now is to try and winch their 3-ton vehicle.
So if the winch blows, we're done, right?
Yep. Then we walk home.
And you walk home. Good luck. Okay. Want to double them down, right?
The blue plastic traction mats will provide grip. With those in place, they're ready to go.
Okay, I'm gonna pop the hood then as a safety measure.
If the winch line snaps, it could be fatal. The car's hood will protect Adrien, while a plastic sleeve will help stop a broken cable flailing around and hitting Mika.
Can you see me here?
Yep, I can see you now.
All right, first gear.
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, winching. I don't think it can pull us out.
But Mika's determined Adrien will succeed with his mission.
Not moving. The rut is too big.
Try less revs. The front wheels up in the air completely. We just wheel straight.
Finally, they begin to creep up the muddy hill.
Stop. We're at the end of the line now. We need to pull it up there.
Every 15 meters, they must reattach their winch cable to a new tree and start the process all over again.
Winch in.
Keep winching. Just one more. Good. Drive. Right. Other way, other way. Keep winching. Stop, stop.
This is not acting.
At last, they clear the steepest part of the climb, and the summit's almost in their grasp. But the expected monsoon deluge has just begun. Adrien's final test will be to blast through a rutted, boggy section to the summit.
So give it some juice here, huh? Buckle up.
Okay, we can go. Go for it.
Oh my God.
Adrien and Mika have conquered the Ulu Sedili hill climb and made it to the summit.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
You look good.
That was fun. That was awesome. Yeah.
We made it.
Survived.
So let's pack things up and go home.
Ah!
And this is fun.
This is nuts.
But the boys aren't out of the woods yet. With the ground turning boggier by the minute, they need to shift it before they become trapped.
That was exciting. Oh, good challenge, though. Really good challenge.
Something to remember for a long time.
Yep.
As they triumphantly drive back out of the trail, they reflect on 3 days battling the jungle. Monsoon conditions, energy-sapping humidity, and the constant menace of jungle leeches.
You can't do this without a good team.
No.
I wouldn't know where to begin, so this is no way.
I would just have a knife, gun, and a jeep. That's it, and get lost. And then shoot myself, probably.
At the end of a long, intense day's drive, Adrien and Mika leave the Ulu-Sidili trail for good.
Good stuff, dude. You're a good travel companion. That was fun.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
Their trusty vehicle has delivered them back to civilization thanks to one vital ingredient.
We've pushed this truck through extremes in the mud, driving in low range, four-wheel drive, revving it really hard, running winches for sometimes, hours. And having just drained this oil, to see that it actually requires not even a top-up, well, you couldn't ask for better. This fully synthetic oil has done its job.
Machine has triumphed, and so have Adrien and Mika.
I know that an experience like this has a profound effect. I really came here to not be just an observer, but to really be the adventurer, or share that responsibility with somebody. Mika's great. Mika's like, he's an alpha male. It's good to be around people that go for it. I really appreciated that. It propels you further.
Adrian's good fun. We had a good laugh in the car. It was life-changing experience. I've never seen jungle so close. It just amazes me how drained I am after being a few days there. I drove myself to extreme on these ones.
I guess we're all driven to extremes, and I like that. We got one life that I know of, so I'm gonna live it.